Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, hi everyone, welcome, and thank you so much for being here today. I'm Ashley, and this is Mark.
Hey guys.
We're the doctor and the chef. So I am a naturopathic doctor. I've been practicing for about 5 years, and I'm very into nutrition and kind of the basics. And very early on in my practice, I realized the importance of learning to cook and what to actually do with the foods that I'm recommending for people. So Mark and I have teamed up, and Mark can tell you a little bit about himself. He's been a vegan chef for many years.
And so yeah, I've been a vegan chef for about over 20 years at this point, and have several cookbooks out. The latest one is Healing the Vegan Way, which is available for you guys to check out. And Ashley and I have been traveling around. We do wellness weekends, and we've been sharing, just pairing plant-based cuisine and nature cures and natural medicine. So this is a little snippet of what we offer worldwide and through our website, and so we'll talk more about that at the end of the course.
So today, we're in May, we're kind of in our springtime and moving into the summer. We like to be in the flow of the season. So we like to talk about foods and nutrients and also things that we can do to keep ourselves healthy in whatever season we happen to be in. So today we have a chia pudding, which is a really high nutrient breakfast or snack that you can have. During this time, we're becoming more active and we want to be outside more. Maybe it's warmer out. We're spending a little bit less time in the kitchen. So we want to show you something really easy that can give you a lot of nutrition. The other thing is a nice cooling herbal beverage that we have. That's perfect for this time of year.
Cool, thanks. And so the style of recipe preparation that I like to do is I call it a template recipe format, where I'm going to basically reveal the underlying formula beneath the recipes. So we're going to be doing 2 recipes, but I think we could cover about 7,463 in our time together. Is there any volunteer want to count up to that? No? Okay, good. Use your little abacus here. So you'll see as I go, I've been teaching classes internationally for several years, and I do weekend workshops, longer chef trainings, teacher trainings, and this is a big takeaway for people, this idea of a template recipe, and it helps them break out of the recipe trap. And so the first recipe we're going to do is chia pudding, and we'll be able to pass this around if you're interested. That'll be available to pass around.
Has anyone had this before, chia pudding? Okay. Or do you know what chia seeds are? Okay.
So with in this bowl here, it's basically 1 part chia seed, and you guys have the recipes there. 1 part chia to between 4 and 5 parts liquid. And so we're going to be using water in this recipe, but what do you think you can replace the water with? Almond milk, any plant-based milk basically, and I'm going to show you a simple way to make your own plant-based milk. So it's actually a template within a template within a template. I'm going to lay out a triple template on you guys today. And so you could change it with fruit juice, any of the different plant-based milks. So chia seed soaked with water is going to taste different than chia seed soaked in a hemp milk or a coconut milk. And we'll go over that shortly. So there's the seed and liquid component here, and then there's other components that are optional. That's like the ground zero for the pudding. One is what I would call, what do you think this component would be called right here? Good, seasoning or spice component. So I'm going to add a little bit of cardamom. And this has been soaked for about 15 minutes, and you can see how gelatinous it becomes. And maybe Sean, our director here, will be the first to try a big gaping spoonful of this. First human to consume that much. So it's been sitting, and now I'm going to add the spices. You could add them when you add the water. And I'm going to add some cinnamon and this is all precisely measured, by the way. It may not look like it, but it's very precise. And this isn't in the recipe, but since it's Memorial Day weekend and we're feeling a little wild, I'm going to put a little nutmeg in there. And then this is optional as well. I'm going to put some vanilla in. And that, if you want to make a note, then I'm adding that. And then this is spirulina. Does anyone know what spirulina is? It's an algae, blue-green algae that's very high in protein. And this I would call like a superfood add-on component. So you could add a little spirulina. What other superfoods do you think you could add into something like this? Well, first, what's a good definition of a superfood? There's a catchphrase that starts with an N. Nutrient dense. So it's the idea of packing a lot of nutrients into a small amount of food. So there's a scale called the Andy score that rates the nutrient density of foods. It goes from 0 to 1,000. Kale and the dark leafy greens are up to 1,000, and Wonder Bread is 0. So between Wonder Bread and kale, you have the full spectrum of nutrient density. And then we're just going to let this sit a little while longer. And so other superfoods you could add are maca powder. You could put some hemp seeds in. And there's a full chlorella. There's lots of different superfoods you could add to boost the nutrients of the dish. What do you think this component is? Excellent, good. Have you taken classes before? I could tell. So with this, and you rotate through the different ones. So this we're going to use a coconut nectar, which I'll pass around. And it's a low glycemic sweetener that's replaced agave, I think, as the top of the hill for the concentrated plant-based sweeteners. And
I think you said it. He said it's low glycemic. So do you know what that means? It keeps your blood sugar more steady. So to replace it as a sugar, it also has nutrients in it. It's the sap from the coconut tree, and it has a lot of minerals in it. So you're actually getting some nutrition with your sweetener.
And what do you think so this is what creates the pudding itself. What do you think this component is right here? The add-on, fruit add-on. So we have some berries and bananas. You could rotate through different add-ons, toasted nuts and seeds, dried fruits, fresh fruits of your choice. And then what do you think this last component is? A plant-based milk, again, to pour onto the cereal. So I'm going to show you a quick way of making a plant-based milk on your own. And I'm going to show you something that you probably have never seen anywhere else before, and you may never see anywhere else again. And if you don't do it right, the milk won't turn out right. So pay close attention. So these are almonds, and this is water. So it's basically roughly 1 to 4. 1 part almond to 4 parts water. And what do you think you can replace the almonds with? Good, you're on a roll.
Seeds.
So yeah, any nuts or seeds. So hazelnuts, pistachios, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. You could do 50% pumpkin seed, 50% sunflower. You can do 55% pumpkin and 45% sunflower, and each one of those is going to change the flavor of your milk. So how many recipes do you think are contained just in the milk itself? How's our counter doing? At least 4,000.
A lot. Yeah.
Okay, good. Actually, it's infinite. So that's how you can look at a template, is just by changing the nut or seed, you're going to create a different flavor profile for the dish. Then for the milk itself, this is an optional component of adding some spices, and then also you could add a sweetener to the milk as well.
So that was cardamom that he put in.
That was cardamom that I just put in. And cinnamon and cardamom, that's my favorite combo.
What was that third sweetener? You had maple syrup, coconut nectar.
This is agave, raw agave nectar. But you could rotate through other sweeteners as well. So you could do a date syrup, you could do coconut sugar, there's any yacon syrup, and each one is going to create a different flavor profile. So now I'm going to blend this up. And the strength of your blender will determine how well ground the seeds are. Then you could use a fine mesh strainer like this, or you can use cheesecloth or a paint strainer bag. Actually, I've used. It's made from the same nylon. This is actually a produce bag. So pour this in here, and then this is what you need to do for it to turn out right. You don't want to squeeze it too hard or it could puncture the bag. And like that's my plant-based milk joke. So I hope you enjoyed it. So with this, and it goes over well in the Midwest. So anyone from the Midwest here know? Usually the person in the room from the Midwest laughs the loudest, so I could usually tell. And then what can you do with this almond meal here? You can eat it. It's good in raw cookies and cakes. If it's finely ground, it could be used as like an almond flour.
Or skin.
Or a skin brush. Good. So I'll just review. That's it for this recipe. I'm gonna just review how many templates, the triple template effect. So this is a template because you have your water and your nut and seed, and then optional spice and optional sweetener. So you rotate through. I like visualizing template recipes like spinning wheels, and each component is like a wheel. So when you spin that wheel, you're going to create a different flavor, even just by changing one component. So the almond milk with the coconut sweetener and cinnamon will taste different than the almond milk, coconut milk with cardamom. Or almond and cardamom will taste different with the coconut sweetener and the maple syrup. Each one will change the flavor. So within this, so now you can use this milk as the base of the chia pudding. So you have your liquid, which could be water, juice, any of the plant-based milks, the spices again, and the sweetener again. So that's the component, the template for the chia pudding itself. And then the meal itself becomes a template because you could change the type of milk that you serve it with. We're going to use some macadamia nut milk today, and you could change the fruit and toppings. And before we hand off to Ashley, the cool thing about templates is that if you're not accustomed to viewing recipes as a template, you may skip through the recipe in a book if you don't have several of the key ingredients. But with a template, you could actually say, oh, well, I don't have this, but I could replace it with this. I don't have this, I could replace it with this. So once you learn to see a recipe with the underlying formula, it liberates you from being trapped by a recipe. And so I'm going to move this aside and start to get the next dish ready.
Should we talk about chia seeds a little bit?
Yeah, whatever
okay.
You want.
So just, before we dine on this, I want you to be thinking about, I like to think about what nutrition we're getting whenever we're eating a certain food. So just about chia seeds, they're definitely in the high nutrient dense category. They're definitely a superfood. So this is why we passed them around. This tiny little seed has a ton of protein, iron, magnesium, potassium. It has vitamin K. It has a lot of fiber in it, and it has this quality of holding water. So I was reading about a study that was done recently where they were comparing like a hydration stamina, I guess, drink for athletes, and it was both the hydrating and the mineral quantity that they were looking at, and the chia seeds, help to keep the person's energy up for like 90 minutes, and it was more than having an energy drink. So this is a good high energy snack with a lot of nutrients in it. So it's also hydrating, it has the fiber in it, and just a little history of chia seeds. I think they were first grown in Mexico, and they were known as a superfood for years in South America. And they were the chia, the word chia in the Mayan language is strength. So it's also called, I think, the runner's food, and one of the languages where they would just take really like a handful of chia seeds to go out and do their work for the day, and that would be enough nutrients for them to have. So I thought that was really cool to share. So, and I also think with these, so he used nutmeg, cinnamon, and cardamom, and these, I think with spices and herbs, always the more the better, because you're always getting minerals, extra trace minerals in that. So you're adding flavors that work together, and all of these herbs and spices like to work together. So you can be thinking of what flavors will work together, and at the same time, they're going to have different profiles of different nutrients, which is usually how much of minerals they have, like how much of manganese and a little bit more of calcium or iron or zinc. And so using them all together, you're getting, over time, you're getting all of these different minerals together. So they are also, all of these are antimicrobial. So, think about our fear of getting, a bacterial infection or a virus and having to take an antibiotic. But if we're using these herbs and spices that are often antimicrobial in like a small way, not where they're intense and they're killing off bacteria, but they're keeping your body better able to defend itself from microbes. So these herbs also do that. The cinnamon especially, and the nutmeg and the cardamom. And they help to regulate your blood sugar. So specifically the cinnamon and the cardamom together, using that with something sweet helps to kind of modulate your body's response. So helping to calm the spike in blood sugar and then the crash using cinnamon. Okay.
And one last thing is, do you guys know how monkeys peel bananas out in the jungle? The lady in the back? Good. I think she's taken a class before as well. So you peel it this way, like this. That's all we have for you today. Class dismissed. I hope you traveled far and wide to learn that technique. So this we're going to slice up along with the fresh fruit for the milk, for the chia pudding. And now this other beverage we're going to do is it's just a little twist on lemonade. So everyone's had lemonade before. So this is, I'm going to show you again this template format for a lemonade. So we're going to use, it's going to be radical, we're going to use water and lemon for our lemonade. So now that you've been here about 20 minutes, so you're all masters of the template recipe format, what can we replace the lemon with if we didn't want to do a lemonade? Lime, excellent. So we could do a limeade. If you're doing, what do you think we can replace the water with if we wanted to do like a tropical limeade? Coconut water, good, excellent. So this is water and lemon, precisely measured. And then the sweetener now, you can rotate through the different sweeteners. And so each sweetener is going to create a different flavor profile. So just going to put a little of the agave in there. And we'll do sweetness to taste. Some special ingredients for this, we're going to this is a basil rosemary lemonade. So part of the basil rosemary is the rosemary. So we're just going to put a pinch of that in there. Rosemary is a very strong flavor, so you don't want to use too much. And then basil, there's a different technique. I'll just show you. If you have a lot of basil to do, you could just tear the bottom stems off. A little bit of the thinner portion of the stem is okay. And For this, you could just put it in the blender depending on the strength of your blender, but I'm gonna give this a little chop, and then just to show you another cutting technique for basil is called chiffonade. Do you know another word for chiffonade as far as the cut? It's called a ribbon cut also. So for that, you just stack a few leaves, you roll it, and then you cut it, and then as the name indicates, you have little ribbons, and that's just a way of changing up the presentation of the dish. And so I'm just going to chop up a little bit of this here.
It smells so good. And I think a little goes a long way with all of these herbs. So again, all of these herbs are antimicrobial. And we're thinking with this drink, we're thinking hydration. So we want to stay hydrated. And anytime you can add a little bit of extra flavor, you're helping you're going to drink more water. You're helping your body to absorb the water more. The lemon is nice because it's alkalinizing to your blood, so it helps basically your metabolism to work better, just to have that little bit of lemon. And all of these herbs just help us to stay hydrated more. And they're also, similar to what I said before, you're getting those anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties.
And just for a special touch, I'm gonna add some rose water, and you want to make sure it's culinary grade. The best way to test it is you find a suspect, and yep, that's culinary grade.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a skincare one, but we always want to be using the same thing on our skin that we would be using in our body. So this company here, also, this is food grade also, so it's the same. And the rose has a little bit of vitamin C in it, and it's also hydrating, both internally and externally, so nice little.
Now this we're just going to blend up, and that's pretty much it. So what we like to show people is these little tips and techniques where you can just up your game a little bit in your presentation of food. So you could serve people on a hot summer day a glass of lemonade, or you can make a basil rosemary lemonade. So you take that extra minute to add those extra ingredients, and it increases the street credit that you have for your lemonade. There's some sample other variation you could do, like a rosemary lavender lemonade. So you could just, it's in the handout there, just infuse some lavender flowers in.
Have you ever found the bergamot extract that you like?
The
bergamot oil?
You could put a tiny bit in, just so you want to make sure that it's food grade, because a lot of times some of the oils are they're not food grade, so just that would be something to keep an eye out for. And with that, I'm gonna get your servings ready for you guys.
Should we pass around the herbs, or at least let's pass around some rosemary?
And this actually, yeah. So to get the rosemary off the stem, you just pull against the grain like this, and then what can you use this for? That's a good idea. Yeah, for garnishing, you could do, if you're doing veggie kebabs, you could just put the veggies on here, and also for your toga party, you could
and
wear
for
them.
smelling. So rosemary and also basil, actually, the aromatic herbs, the mint also, they're stimulating to your brain. So rosemary specifically has been studied a lot for looking at dementia and Alzheimer's. So that's why I want to pass it around. And when I was in naturopathic school, we would have rosemary around because it was growing all around our school. So we would have a little next to us when we were taking a test. So you can smell a little bit. It's actually, bringing more blood to your brain, so helping with memory and cognitive abilities. We pass around. So, in our chia pudding,
Sorry. Like lemonade, if you wanted to add strawberries or other fruit.
Oh yeah, that would be nice. Strawberry basil lemonade would be good.
Yeah, so you could strain it or just, put a little extra chunks in it. And it will. But, I will in a second. So also berries. I recommend that people eat berries every day. They're so good. So what the anthocyanins in them, the chemicals in them, help to protect your blood vessels. So that means your blood vessel, all of your blood vessels, the ones that, for your heart, for your brain, your eyes. That's why they're helpful for your eyes. The little blood vessels, and just always adding more color is going to be bringing more phytochemicals into your day. So berries are great for that, and they're a sweet food that is very low glycemic. So even people that are recommended maybe to not eat so much fruit, berries are usually still okay because they don't cause a real spike in blood sugar. They have a good amount of fiber. They often have like little seeds in them, and those have a lot of health benefits in them. So,
do you think frozen berries have the same?
They do actually, yeah, and that's been a research topic as well, especially blueberries. If you freeze them, they retain all of their health benefits, which is awesome. Because then at the end of the summer, when you go to the farmer's market, you can get all these berries and keep them frozen. And that's what I would do over the winter, is always have my frozen berries to put in oats or, whatever I was having. So.
How do you freeze your berries? Just out of curiosity, so in jars or bags?
Either, yeah.
In our trainings, we recommend like a lot of kitchen gear and gadgets as we go. And after doing the chia pudding, one of my students said the next gadget he has to pick up is a water pick. So you'll see why when you have the pudding.
Yeah.
We won't do the group photo after we serve the chia pudding.
You might want to have some flaws, but they're really good for your teeth as well. That's one of the things that was mentioned, is that they help for your teeth. I didn't really. Oh, you talked a little bit about spirulina, but it's a source of chlorophyll. So it's really an important nutrient to have here in high altitude because it helps your body to make nitric oxide. So you're essentially bringing more oxygen through your blood to your cells, to your organs. So it can actually help anything that has chlorophyll in it. Green leafy veggies. Spirulina, this is just a really concentrated source of it. And you can also get chlorophyll. You can get chlorophyll or spirulina in the little tablets or in liquid. And they can really help for people that are traveling here from a lower altitude to help them to adjust to the altitude. So I like to mention that.
It's illegal here, but have you ever traveled to South America and had the coconut tea?
Yeah, I don't know how to get it anywhere else,
Yeah,
but
I don't either.
it works really well, yeah.
When I was in Bolivia, that was like my lifesaver.
Yeah. In Peru also, that was so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing that it's not legal here. It's such a healing medicinal plant.
But there are other herbs. Coca leaves, yeah. And there are other herbs that are going to help to stimulate your circulation, and that's what we want. So like ginkgo is a good one. I would say that the top ones are ginkgo and anything that has chlorophyll in it. So I just heard a doctor mention, he was a cardiologist that was talking about telling people that when they were going to get imaging done, like anything that would bring more radiation to your body, to eat a lot of green leafy vegetables right before to help to protect your body from that. So I think it's the same way with being in altitude or even flying, to get any way to be getting more chlorophyll in your body. So, and this also, the chlorophyll concentrates magnesium, so it helps your body to take in and absorb magnesium by having enough of that. So that's why we just kind of sprinkle it in every now and then to our food.
We feed it to our baby also, the vegan Gerber baby. He gets his spirulina.
His green oats, and his grandma's like, what is that? But he just eats it up. And, as long as it is balanced with, because it does have like a salty flavor, but as long as it's balanced with bananas or fruits or whatever, it's good.
Is kale kind of something similar to spirulina? Like
kale?
But you don't really want kind of fresh kale.
Yeah. I haven't seen. Have you seen that yet? Like
I haven't seen powdered kale. That could be the next great superfood craze.
Just wondering.
Yeah.
It's like you're saying with spirulina, it's nice to kind of maybe travel with it.
Yeah.
It's going to maybe bring a bunch of kale on.
I know. Yeah, I mean, you could dry it. Yeah, I don't know.
Like if you dry it,
I don't know if it would work, but I was going to suggest a dehydrator and then a coffee grinder.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
or even in the Vitamix.
But then that's a lot of processing. I don't know. Yeah. It's worth a try. We'll see. Yeah, I like the liquid too, the liquid chlorophyll. I bring that with me to help with energy. Yeah.
you add it to just water like that.
Yeah, and you don't need very much. You just need like a few, it's concentrated. That's why it's a good travel thing. You just put a little bit in water. You can kind of sip on it throughout the day. Yeah.
So chia seeds, one thing that I'm not so sure about is they're gluten. I call them gluten.
Yeah. Yeah.
Texture.
Yeah, well, and like things like that, you can also remember that that's what helps them to be healing. So they're healing to your tissues. So even if you have like a sore throat or all the way down your digestive system, like any kind of inflammation that you can have, that mucilaginous quality is healing to your tissues. So
If I were to blend that with oats,
with
like
oats,
to make like it almost like a chia oatmeal,
uh-huh.
would that lose its properties of chia seeds by grinding?
No.
No, and
No, they stand up pretty well.
and that's a good point because chia, up until recently, chia seeds were mainly known for what? Chia
Yeah.
pets, right? So the chia pets of old are now the superfood of the future. So it's amazing. Who knows what the next superfood will be based on that? If chia pets became a superfood, who knows what's next? But chia seed is different than flax in that flax seeds, you need to grind them to get the full nutrient benefit, where chia seeds actually, just by soaking them, you can get the benefit.
Yeah, and that's mostly about the fats. So they have a high amount of healthy fat, omega-3 and omega-6 fats, that are just so important for your immune system and your brain health and your hormones. And they also are important for absorbing fat-soluble vitamins. So vitamin A, vitamin K, vitamin E, vitamin D. And the chia seed, we still usually keep them in the fridge or the freezer, and same with hemp seeds as well. But you know, they I think they hold up for a long time. So you know, compared to hemp seeds and flax seeds. So, but still, like all of those are good sources of the healthy fats that we're looking for.
It's about like some alternatives of if you have something that's not vegan, like how you can make eggs or how you can, is that like almost like a conversion?
Some,
Alternatives to the sugar or this fat. Or
yeah. So Mark calls it transitional foods, and that would be things that can kind of give you the same textures or the same flavors as meat, to kind of transition people off of meat. And so they are going to be more healthy in general, but not like the most healthy thing that you could have. You know, like, what would you say? Like things like processed soy.
Well, even doing like different scrambles and
Tofu.
vegan cheese, using tofu or tempeh or vegan cheeses. Now the people ask what some of the latest trends in the vegan culinary world are, and we like to say no cheese will remain unconquered by the plant-based food.
And that's a big deal.
People, because there's lots of, it's really simple to make your own. In our live trainings, we make we make homemade cheeses, plant-based cheeses, but there's also some really good commercially available cheeses on the market now, and pretty much everything could be veganized at this point. Like even someone veganized the Betty Crocker cookbook called Betty Goes Vegan, and so everything in there was veganized. And that's something that I consider, like for me, I like making dishes that are people who are accustomed to the flavors and textures of animal products can easily make the leap over to vegan using simple ingredients that most people have on hand.
Yeah, and cheese is there's so many people that say, I just can't give up, it's so hard. And there's a lot of reasons for that. The casein has an addictive quality to it. But that's why in our classes he teaches this amazing cashew cheese that's so easy to make and so good. And then we do like a tour around the store when we're here doing classes, and to show people different products. There are good, there are better brands and different, looking at the labels and what's in them and the good plant cheeses, because the brands. What do you think?
Well, here's, I'll give you a brief history of vegan cheese, according to me, in my humble opinion. Is it used to be that they would have eraser manufacturing facilities, and then all of the byproducts from the eraser manufacturing facility would go into creating the vegan cheese. At least that's what it tasted like. And then...
and a lot of them had casein in them.
Yeah, there's the vegetarian cheeses, because actually cheese may not be vegetarian even. Does anyone know why? Right, so they'll use rennet, which is from the cow intestine, so vegetarian cheese wouldn't have rennet. The vegan cheese, and then they would have casein in it, the vegetarian cheeses, which is probably the most health challenging part of cheese is the casein.
Yeah.
So there's Follow Your Heart is a brand. They came out with a mozzarella that was really good, and then Daya came out with these shredded mozzarella, which we really like. And then the ceiling was broken, I think, when Chow cheeses came out, which they sell them here, which
their Field Roast is the brand.
Field Roast is the brand, and that people who are really accustomed to cheese can't tell the difference with that. And then Follow Your Heart came out with some brands of they have a smoked Gouda and a provolone slices that are really good. And now there's lots of artisan vegan cheeses, so Miyoko's Creamery, they sell them here at Natural Grocers. And
Tree Line is good. Kite
Hill. So there's many options now, many more than when we first got started.
Yeah.
What's that?
Have you guys been to Portland?
Yeah.
We just came back from Portland.
We were just there.
The vegan Mecca.
Okay, yes.
Have you?
Yeah, I used to live there.
Okay,
Oh,
me
really?
too.
I really enjoyed there. Yeah.
Heidi Ho. Oh, yeah.
Heidi Ho's good.
Yeah.
Ethiopian cheese.
Yeah, Vito. We didn't make it there on this trip.
I stopped there on the last time. I think they have another location, which is exciting. Yeah.
I saw some natural groceries. There's one down here.
Oh,
Very
good.
expensive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. You do that.
It's pretty filling, that pudding. How'd that come out?
How is it?
Good?
Oh, good.
So you could, if you wanted to make it more dessert-like, you could add, when you blended the milk, you could use raw cacao to make a chocolate chia pudding. You could put raw cacao nibs on top. So this could be either breakfast or dessert.
Or snack.
Yeah, that would be good. Lemon, and
Yeah.
you could also, the chia seeds with coconut milk and maple syrup is like a tapioca. So it's like another, like a different version of tapioca. Let's try this.
Okay.
So we'll just serve this, and then we'll take some Q&A, and then we'll ask Olivia to come up. She's going to talk a little bit about what else we do. Olivia and Sean at the Doctor and the Chef.
Can you help me grab this? And just put them in. So while you're enjoying your snack, I like to give people some recommendations on supplements just to kind of help keep you supported and keep your immune system supported. So it always starts with food, but I want to talk about vitamin C. These are some different types of vitamin C. Good vitamin C foods are obviously like oranges and mangoes and kiwi and, you know, fruits and berries, all of the things that are great during the summer. But I also want to just point out the importance of vitamin C, good old vitamin C, and how even in times where we're more busy or maybe traveling more, out and about more, we're getting a lot more vitamin D, and that's great. It's going to be helping our immune system. But vitamin C, our adrenal glands are glands that sit on top of our kidneys, and they produce cortisol. So that's what they call the stress hormone. And it just seems like none of us are immune to that. It just seems like there's always something like coming at us, and we're always kind of moving and going. So vitamin C can be amazing for keeping you in that modulated place of not overproducing cortisol. So your adrenals concentrate it. It's also super important for your immune system. It kind of helps to tell your white blood cells where to go when you have. So that's why it can help your body, your immune system, to respond to something faster. So if you're starting to get a little bit, even like an allergy symptom or a viral thing, taking enough vitamin C. So these are just 3 options. I like the food-based ones. So these are powders that are made from different fruits. There's actually kiwi, cherry, and amla in this one. And similar, this has some berries in it, orange and cranberry. You need to.
Just gonna zap this up for one quick second. The strength of your blender will determine how well processed the basil and the rosemary are. So I'm going to blend this, and I may strain it through a strainer.
But then you don't need a fancy blender, just to point that out. You can use this with just a regular blender.
Thank you.
Okay. So the other one, this is a new product. It's a vegan, I think they're close to vegan company, and this is a spray, and this is good to have traveling. You know, it's like a lower amount of vitamin C, but it's food blend, so it's got all of the different foods. It even has like cauliflower, garlic, cucumber, tomato, beet, you know, and then the cherry and the berries and everything. So you can take it on a regular basis. So my point is, because we're moving through vitamin C so much, I think it's a good supplement to have around, and especially the food-based ones. Those you're going to absorb in your body really well, and you'll notice the difference in your energy when you're taking it regularly. QBC complex. This also has vitamin C in it, and this is a capsule here, but it's just a nice combination for allergies. So getting into allergy season, the quercetin is the Q. Quercetin is a chemical in like skins, so in berries or in the skin of onions and different fruits and vegetables, and it helps to calm the immune response. So it's amazing for allergies. And then the other one is bromelain. Bromelain is an enzyme in pineapple. So it's great. In pineapple, it can help to break down your foods. It also helps to calm the inflammatory response. So this is just something that I found here on the shelf, QBC complex for allergies. And then one of my favorite herbs for adrenal health, for also helping to keep your adrenals steady, is ashwagandha. It's an Indian herb. There's almost a whole shelf of ashwagandha. So this is ash, A-S-H, wag, W-A-G, and then A-N-D-H-A. I just love this herb, and people, it tends to be a pretty universally well-responded herb. So because, again, like we always have so much stress in our day, one of the qualities is that it helps you emotionally and mentally to kind of let go of the day. So you can take this like when you're getting into that afternoon place of like you're getting home and there's so much going on, this can help you to stay calm and to kind of like let go of the stress of the day. And this is great for traveling. I'm always mentioning traveling because we travel so much, and we always have this with us, and it helps to kind of keep us steady. And then this is a a capsule that has some other herbs in it that are for adrenal health. So I just brought this out just to mention and to keep you thinking of adrenal health, because we got to be thinking about our adrenals. You know, it's so easy to just jump out of bed and like go, but these plants are our friends, and they're here to like help support us and during those stressful times. So the ashwagandha, and this also has holy basil in it and oats. Same thing as what you know of as oats. And it also has ashwagandha, and rhodiola is another very helpful adrenal plant. So those are just some of my suggestions of the day.
The lemonade is ready now. You could also do a mintade also by replacing the basil with fresh mint. That's another, I have that in one of my books, so mintade. And does anyone have any questions on the recipes we did, or vegan cuisine, or naturopathic medicine in general before we bring Sean and Olivia out?
Do you know any recipes that use the chia seeds in a savory, English way?
That's a great question. So chia seeds on a savory dish, a lot of times the chia seeds are used as a vegan egg. So with that, it's who knows the ratio of chia seeds to water for a vegan egg? Our Portland person? No. Okay. It's 1 tablespoon of chia seeds to 3 tablespoons water can be used to replace eggs in baking, either sweet or savory baking.
And how long does it need to sit?
Just till it gets gelatinous, so 5 minutes or so. You could also use the ground flax seeds as a way to create the egg with the same ratio. Other than that, chia is used. Actually, you could even use that in veggie burgers, that instead of an egg for binding. So those are like the main applications, like binding for savory, or on its own in a pudding for a sweet dish usually.
What about like a cream spinach thing where you mix the chia seeds and milk, make that almost smooth, and then add a little spinach?
That's a great idea. That's a good one. Yeah, that could work.
One of the cheeses, the Heidi Ho that we mentioned, is chia. It has chia in it. So I can't remember if it also has almond or something, but it has chia cheese. It's like it's really good. I mean, it's kind of like a dipping cheese, or you can use it in a sauce. That would be like an Alfredo sauce, and that's what it's made with. So.
When you put it to something like have you used it as a dipping thing?
It's thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really watery, so it tends to just.
Yeah, you have to stir it up. Yeah, so it's like really thick, I think, because of the chia.
Cool. This is a little glimpse of what Ashley and I have been offering pretty much internationally. We're heading to England next month, and we just came back from Portland, and we're in Hawaii. So we travel around internationally, and we're located here now in Denver. And we've been working with Sean and Olivia. They're part of the reason why we moved here. So we're going to hand the floor over to them, and we'll be available afterwards for questions. You like that?
Is it good? Oh, good. Yeah.
Cool. It's very refreshing. So we're moving into the spring and summer, so these are good beverages.